Hi, welcome. We're going to take a look today at exercise 11 for AutoCAD 2022. As you can see here, this is the model we're going to go ahead and construct. And what it entails is actually importing a drawing file, or I should say a raster file. In this case, we'll probably do a PDF of this blueprint of this Starship, and we're going to go ahead and use that to trace around. Now, the accuracy of this can really vary depending upon the quality of the raster image and how you scale it and things like that. So it's not really recommended for high precision, although you can use it if you're getting some dimensions off of the actual parts, if you're reverse engineering. And it does give you a pretty decent scale, usually, like of how all the other features interact. So let's begin. First of all, let's go to New, and this file that you're going to be able to open in just a few minutes here is going to be available on my website, britannia1.com. I just don't have it there quite yet. All right, now where you would go to download that, you go to Britannia1, and you'll actually, once you get inside there, it's just a matter of going to part files, and I hope to have it in here. I'll probably have it maybe down here, and it will be a little blue button or something. We'll see. But keep an eye out. I think I will put it right there. All right. And then if you go to the instructional manuals, you can actually find a training guide in there. And I hope to have that lesson in there. Right now, it's not there. So but if you want to take a look at the training guide, you're more than welcome to. It's free. It's just a PDF. All right. Now, what we're going to do, once I've got this, I'm going to go to the Home button here and Top. And in fact, this one isn't a bad idea to go if you're on the Visualize tab. Now, if you don't have the Visualize tab, you just have to right-click on this little gray area here, and make sure you go to Show Tabs and turn on 3D Tools and Visualize. They don't pop up automatically, at least when I installed 2022, it did not, so I had to activate those. So if you're new to this, there you go. But I'm going to go to 2D wireframe. And from here now, we could go and actually, I'm looking to bring in, go to under Insert, and you'll see PDF Import. And I plan to have this as a PDF file out there for you. So you could just click on PDF, and we will find that it's going to be called the Starship Blueprint. We can just open that up. And it gives us some options here. Now make sure you check the raster image, because that's what we're interested in. There's not any vector geometry in there. Vector geometry, if you do have a PDF with vector geometry, it's exceptional. You could actually utilize that geometry. And it should be, theoretically, it should be pretty accurate. Versus a raster image is a collection of pixels, and it's only as good as how detailed you go with that. All right, and now I'm going to just go ahead and drop this. I'm actually going to select the grid to snap it right at that corner. All right, and there we have it. And it should automatically be to the size that I normally build at here. All right, and so what I would recommend is this view right here to start off with. Now, I'm going to first put in center lines, and it would have been nice had I created this blueprint. I should have put center lines in, but that's okay. You don't always get center lines. So we're going to go to the Home tab and go to the Line tool, and now I'm going to turn off that snap. And there's a couple areas that I want center lines. First of all, right here. So we could actually find the center of this little point here, or at least as close as to center as we could get. Remember, I said that the accuracy with this isn't going to be all that extraordinary. And then just get this all the way to the end of the white line there. And I can hit Escape, hit Enter again. And over here, do the same with this one. Actually, I'm just going to zoom over there. I'm using the wheel on the scroll. Okay, and find what looks like the center right there. Go clear across. And then Escape. And then we want this one here. So let's enter again. And let's get to that peak there, what looks like the peak. And if it's off a little bit, this is just for fun, so not a big deal. All right, and we want to snap down to that point there. Hit escape. All right, so we have centers right now. Now, next thing we're going to do is we're going to start revolving these. Oh, you know, we could also draw this geometry here. So if we go over here, make it a little bit longer, click and drag this through, then drag this across here, and where you think it would intersect, like right about there, looks about right, then drag that through, and then infer to this, and then you can just hit C for close, and hit enter. All right, so we have that done. And I think we're pretty good. Now we could actually start making these revolve features. All right, now I'm going to make the nacelle. This is what they call the nacelle here. And it's in the center, and we're going to go ahead and end up moving it anyhow. So I'm going to go to line and snap there and just get right about there. And this has a little bit of an angle, so we want to follow that. And again, we're just dipping in here. It's very fuzzy, and this is the type of thing you deal with quite often with raster files. Okay, and then that looks pretty good. I'm going to hit escape. Now I'm going to use this one right here, which is the you want to use the start and radius. You could use any of those that you're comfortable with, but for this you could click to this point and then that point, and then you just drag this out. And if you hold Control, it'll pop it outward. And what we want to do here is we want to get that a little flattened out there. Let's zoom out there. Gosh, when I tried this earlier, I didn't have such a challenging time. But let me hit escape there. I'm going to try that again. I'm going to hit enter. Let's try from this side, from here to here. Oops, oh, picked up a different tool. Let's try that again. From here to here. There we go. And then you could just adjust it. Let's zoom up there. And if we go to there, that looks pretty good. Click. All right, now we could revolve that. So what I would recommend doing is actually select that group there, and I like to actually join it. So I click over here on join, and I'm on the home tools, and that makes it one continuous or polyline, and then when we revolve it, we get an actual solid. If you don't do this, sometimes you end up getting a collection of surfaces, which surfaces aren't bad if you're just trying to have fun. A solid body is your best bet for 3D modeling. If you intend to 3D print it, even though when you output it, a lot of the softwares out there will automatically stitch together the collection of polygons, so or to make a watertight boundary condition. It's up to you. All right, so now I'm going to go to 3D Tools. I'm going to go to Revolve. And I'm just going to select this and hit enter. Now select that point and this point here. And now it should default to 360. As long as you see 360 down there, you can just hit enter. And there we have it. Okay, and it's a little bit bigger than what we wanted, and that's okay. Again, you could adjust things if you really want. Part of it being a little bit bigger is apparently I didn't get it right on center, but you know, we're talking maybe 30 thousandths of an inch. It's not that big of a deal, especially when we're just having fun. All right, now let's get this section and go back to Home, Line Tool, snap to that, drag it up. Now this one has a bit of an arc on it, and so I'm going to hit escape, and I'm going to draw some of this over here. So I'm going to go up, and let's see, we have point there, kind of goes up. Again, it's very difficult to see on this file. There's a little bit of an angle, and just have a little fun with it. And then it looks like it kind of goes back up, maybe like that. Hit escape. All right, now we could use that arc tool again. And let's go from this point here. Let's just make sure we got that point. Click to this point here. And then we could get that to flatten out a little bit. Goodness, it's going to make me really go out there. Okay, that looks pretty good. Click. And we could see it floating there. Now, if you want to use some of the other arc tools, by all means, go ahead. This may not, quite honestly, may not be the best arc tool to be using right now. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the arc tool. We'll try this one too. Okay, at this point to right about there, click, and it needs to go the other way. If I hold Control, it flips it, but I don't like how it just kind of disappears when we get to a certain level. It can't reduce itself. So I'm going to hit Escape and start from the other end here. So I'm going to hit Enter again, right about there, click, connect to that, and there we go. And that looks pretty decent. Click. Now there's going to be a little bit of trimming involved here. You can see the lines. That's okay. Let's go to trim. I'll just trim that. All right. Now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to actually copy that. I'm going to select that, Control C, hit Control V, and then just move this over a little bit. And I don't want it to snap to anything necessarily, but that looks pretty good. I'm going to go to the line tool and close that little gap at the top. Escape, hit Enter again, and then we could actually, if we want, we could just bring it right there or change it. Okay, so now we could join all that. All right, so at this point, we're going to go ahead and we want to connect all those with join. So I'm going to go to Modify here, find Join, and I'm going to go in here and select this, select that, select this, and that. Hit Enter. 15 objects converted to a polyline, so now we're good to revolve that too. So let's go to 3D Tools, Revolve, select the entity, hit Enter, and then these 2 points. Enter, and we have our cylinder there. Okay, now let's get the saucer section. All right, for the saucer section, I'm going to start at one end and work my way around. So again, go to line, and that looks pretty good right about there. Drag that down, click here, and hit Escape. Enter again to repeat. Drag that right about there. Escape. And now the rest of this is just a bunch of arcs, really. So we're going to use the arc tool again, and we'll click here to there, and just flatten that out a bit. Let's zoom out. That looks pretty good. Hit Enter again, from here to here. And then Enter again, from there to there. Now that was a different arc tool that I switched to, wasn't intentional, but now I'm going to go ahead and trim all this. And again, it's not perfect, it's okay. It's whatever you want to make of it. All right, now we could get the ones at the bottom. Go back to arc here, click here to here. like that. That's kind of cool. Click. And then it almost looks like it goes to a flat here for a moment. So I'll draw the line there, and now the arc again. We'll connect from there to there. And actually I might want to reverse that. Let's try from here to here. There we go. All right, and then trim. And at this point, we could go to join. What did that take? Hold on a second. Join. Oops. Don't know if I got everything there. Okay, looks good. Hit enter. That didn't work. Okay, let's select that again and do it one more time. All right, somewhere there might be a gap if you get something like that. So what we can do, if you want to see through this, if we go to visualize, we can actually go to X-ray. That gives us a little bit better shot. And I'm curious why we're getting a... Oh, it is one. Oh, never mind. Okay. It had already been converted, so it was successful. All right, now we could go to our 3D tools. Revolve. Select the geometry. Enter, and then the start and end point of our revolve. And we want 360, you just hit enter, and there we have it. Okay, so we're starting to look like our Starship a little bit there. Now let's get this section right here. This section's pretty easy. And what I'm going to do is get that geometry and go to Home, Modify, Join. And now we could use the push-pull. So let's go to 3D Tools or Press Pull. Click on that, drag it up, 0.06. Oh, you know what? It didn't capture that other segment there. So let's hit escape for a moment there. Let's see. You know what? I'm going to do an extrude instead. Enter. And 0.03. Enter. And then what we can do, we could probably do the press pull at this point. Let's see if it does it the way I'm hoping. But we'll just do multiple. Click on multiple. Get that too. Enter. And we'll go ahead and set it to 0.03. There we go. And we could have done the multiple earlier too. Okay, now we're going to get this nacelle moved over. So what we can do here is over here, go to the right view orientation, flip it like so, and we're just going to change our axis here. And let's see. Here, let's rotate it first a little bit. Okay, so we actually want to rotate so our Z is looking at us. So to do that, we're just going to go to, let's see, we'll rotate around the Y. So it's just like the Y is our hinge. And we'll rotate so Z is pointing this direction. There we go. I could go to top, rotate, and now we have the grid to use. All right, at this point, we're going to go to Home, and let's go to Move, select that object there, hit enter, and we'll click there, and then just move this. And we want the actual center of the nacelle, that little vertical line, the center line, aligned with the end of the bowed radius where it goes into the flat. So right about there looks good. Click. And if we rotate, there it is. Let's move it. We'll mirror it over. Actually, before we mirror it over, let's draw in one of the actual wings there. Or it's kind of like a wing, holds the nacelle in place. All right, now there's several ways you can do this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to 3D Tools and click on World. Now, this is just one method that was just really quick. I just went here to Home. We draw a quick, we could just draw a rectangle that we'll delete in a second and just have it right about there. And then we could do press pull on the 3D tools. And I know there's better ways than doing what I'm doing here. Okay, now what we can do with that is we could get our plane aligned with it. So we go 3-point here, and we select 1, 2, 3. All right. And so we can actually start creating this. I'm going to hit escape. I'm going to delete that little box, even the sketch we don't need anymore. But now we could go to the bottom, rotate, and proceed. Oh, you know what? Let's go to turn on perspective. So type perspective. And, oh, it is set to 0. Never mind. Okay, it just looked like we had perspective on. All right, now we're going to go ahead and draw in some geometry here. So I'm going to go to line, and we want it to intersect. And so we're going to turn off, actually, the snap, snap there. And right about there, click, and get this towards the center. Drag out a line, click, drag it through here. Click, and then type in C for close and hit enter. And just make sure it's planar or flat there. Now we can go ahead and extrude that. So, or let's try press pull here. 3D Tools, press pull. And then you should be able to drag it. And in this case, I'll drag it 0.3. It's a little short from what I had, but honestly, they're thinner with the real Starship, but that's okay. You can make them any size you want. Now, let's go back and turn on the world here, for world coordinates, and let's go to top, actually rotate. There we go. We'll just go to right there. And we're going to mirror this across. So let's go to type in mirror down here and mirror 3D. Now select the nacelle and the little wing there, whatever they call it. Feel free to drop that in the comments below. Hit enter. And now let's see here. We want it to mirror across the Y-X. So, or XY. Click on that, enter. Do you want to delete the source objects? No. Enter. And there it is. Okay, now what we're going to do, and what I just noticed here, this actually made a surface revolve. So apparently I must have had an opening on it, and it just complicates things a little bit. Not a big deal. It's still workable. This one here, as I float over, it says solid. I didn't realize that was a surface, but that's okay. Let's see what the difference is. First of all, I should probably put some of these features in earlier. I'm going to go to the top, and I'm actually going to turn off perspective. And set it to 0. Okay, now I want to put in little cuts here. So I'm going to draw that in, and I'm going to use an arc right about there to there, and hold. Let's try that control again. I can't implode, sadly. So we'll just do the reverse direction. So click here to here. Okay, now we'll just put some lines over that. Let's turn back on our snaps, or OSnap, down here and here. Now what I'm going to do is make that little cutout. So we could use the press pull under 3D tools. That way. And then down. And then we could use subtract. And we'll subtract from this. Hit enter. That. Okay, see how it makes that little cutout there? Let's do that again. So hit subtract, select the nacelle on the other side, hit enter, and then select this, hit enter. All right. And we could actually get rid of this. Delete that. Now to get this little cutout here, this is a little bit more tricky, but not hard. If it were solid, it'd be a little easier, in my opinion. But we could do the same thing. Just go over here, go to the arc tool, go across there. I keep going the wrong way. Enter from here to here. Okay, mine's very different than the other one, but that's okay. Just, again, have fun with it. Now, we could go to 3D Tools, Extrude. We'll extrude that surface. And then, let's see if we could push out of the press pull. Oh, there we go. Yeah, just down like that. Hit Escape. Now we want to join these two. And just select them. And let's go to Home and Join. Didn't do what I intended. Let's see, 3D Tools. All right, I'm going to use the Union tool. I'm just going to go Union here and select this and that, hit Enter. Oops, did that not do what I was hoping? Control Z there. All right, let's just try that one more time. Press pull, drag that down, and now we should be able to do Union here and here. Okay, now it says we'll continue the union operation. There we go. And now we should be able to use this to trim that out there. So we could actually use this is the trim tool. All right, now it says here, select surfaces or regions to trim. All right, so we want to trim this, enter. Select the cutting surface, enter. Okay. And then we select this little area right here that we don't want. And that should have trimmed it. So cut that little segment off. Now we want to actually have this surface. Let's see, did it cut that back off? Oh, it did, actually. Okay. Now we want to actually utilize this surface. So we'll trim again. So select area to trim. Let's hit Escape. And we'll do a trim again. All right. So select surfaces or regions to trim. We want this to trim. And then this is our cutting surface. And hit enter. And then click on this. And it should trim it up. As you can see, now we have what appears to be a watertight boundary there. So it's more work. As you can see, if I would have made it a solid, apparently I left a gap or something. Actually, not sure where, but as you can see, we've got this almost done. All right, now to add colors and things like that to it, what we can do from this point is we could go to Visualize and turn on Materials Browser. Okay, a couple of the things I want. I have it set to category. If you want, you can just click on category, and let's get to plastics. Metal. There we go. Okay, let's see. I want red, so I'm going to pop that up there. We do want a little blue. And how about that orange? Okay, so now what we can do is we could go over to the 3D solids, turn on your filter, and just turn on faces. And we could click on that face there. And this face here. And we'll go ahead and just click on that orange, and you can see it highlights that. All right, now I'm going to go and select this. We'll go with red. And then the antenna array in the front. Let's select that face there and go with blue. Take. Oops. I think it did. Anyhow, now we could try and set it now to under Visualize, instead of X-ray. We could try shaded with edges. And I could see there was the opening. I didn't realize I must not have captured that one. That's okay. You could always go back and fix that. Let's try get this in here. Okay, not sure why that one's not picking it up on it. It is a surface, so maybe that's part of the issue. But as you can see, we have built our Starship. And that concludes this exercise.